Too clever, but
too lazy.
All right, welcome to episode 9. Stephanie's over there laughing. It's a good time. We're one episode away from double digits, guys. Really excited.
Yep. Super stoked about that. Welcome to episode 9. Nice to have you guys back. Today we're going to talk about some crazy deaths, some crazy mind-bending reality stories, wilderness deaths, and some today I fucked up and today I learned stories that are kind of crazy. The idea, the theme for today is crazy, apparently.
That's the theme for every episode, and then it just turns into whatever. But that's normally what I go in, is I want it to be crazy, and then it just turns into
the Stephanie show.
The Stephanie show, right?
Do you know what Sonia said to me the other day? She was like, "Mom, is life like a big dream?" And I'm, being the philosophical mystic that I am. I was like, "Yeah, sweetie, it is." And here's what she asked next. Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
She said, she's like, "Okay, well, is somebody dreaming about us?"
Are we all just their dream? That's deep, dude. She's like, what? Fucking 5?
Yeah, she's 6 now.
Or 6 now? Yeah, okay.
I know. When she said that, I was like, "Oh, I got to put that in my phone." I was like,
Jesus.
I know. That's what I said. I was like, I don't know.
Man, that's an elaborate dream, though.
I know, right? Okay.
So anytime someone says, by the way, this is my thought of the day. Anytime someone says, "Oh man, it's been a while," I immediately start seeing Stain. It's been a while since I could.
I know. I think my head up. Stand that song.
It's been a while. I know, and I fucking can't not sing it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I got a joke for you.
Sure.
What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One's really heavy.
Yeah.
And one's a little lighter.
Yeah. I know. No, I'm gonna give you some rim shots. I have a perfect rim shot too, to send you.
That's so vulgar.
I know it does sound. It's a video. It's a 2-second video. It's no. Why did the duck cross the basketball court?
Why?
Because he heard the ref was blowing fouls.
No.
All right. All right, so go ahead and start with your first. You sound like you were chomping at the bit to go ahead and give us a story. So go ahead and give us that
you
first.
Were going to start with crazy deaths. I
was going to start with the crazy
and then
death.
I was going to do the crazy reality.
No, that is fine. So am I going to do I'll just do this one death first, and then we'll discuss and go from there. So
okay.
This one was a Spanish police are investigating the death of a 39-year-old man who was found. His body was found inside a statue of a dinosaur. Okay. So in Barcelona,
Barcelona,
there was a paper mache figure of a stegosaurus, and it was promoting an old movie, like an old timey movie theater. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this man was found inside of it. Like when someone found he had gone missing, and they knew that he was around that area. And then so somehow the father saw the corpse, his leg sticking, or no, the corpse sticking through the stegosaurus's leg. So somehow the leg had popped through the stegosaurus. Apparently, what they're determining, or what they think happened, is that he dropped his cell phone somehow inside the stegosaurus, and then he went to climb inside the stegosaurus and then couldn't get out, and then just died in there. And they said there's no drugs, no alcohol, anything like that. He just, it says they don't really suspect foul play. Give me 1 second to go. Just for safety reasons, they have the since removed the statue. That's what it's saying. But yeah, it says that this guy went missing. It doesn't really give a lot of information. It just says the guy went missing. They went looking for him, and the father saw a piece of his body sticking through a crack in the stegosaurus's hollowed leg, which also doesn't make sense because you think he'd be able to kick if his leg was sticking out, and it was out of paper mache. And I mean, this statue, you can look up, you can see it online. They're pretty. That's where we got to start a website. So you can be just like, hey, go to our site, or not a website, but like a page. Anyway, there's pictures of it. It's a pretty big 2 stories, I would say. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you would have to like, yeah, if you were standing on the roof of a 2-story building, you'd be like at his like back level roughly. So yeah, and then, but I don't understand also how he got inside of it. So I'm looking at it and like,
Yeah, like why is he inside of it, and how the fuck did he drop his phone in there?
well, no, so it's so basically where it looks like it's right by, like so basically like say there's like a flat surface like a parking lot, and then there's like a lamp like almost like a wheelchair ramp, right? And then so it's 2 levels, and then so this thing is like right next to like a level. So there's like a little railing and stuff like that. So he could have been like leaning over the railing and talking or something like that, and it could have fallen. I could possibly see that.
Oh,
And like
okay.
I've definitely dropped things before, and like there's how the fuck did it fall like that?
Oh, yeah, that
What the
makes sense
fuck,
that he
dude?
did. Yeah, it
Come
probably
on,
could
you know what I
have.
mean?
Yeah,
So I could
yeah.
see, and then he tried to get in there, and but yeah, and then he tried to, and then just but couldn't get out, and then yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it had to
He
have
had.
been like natural causes, or maybe he got knocked out as a head injury. But there's still this happened a while back, and it's all the things I'm saying still say that they're kind of like our autopsy reports are kind of inconclusive as to the final.
Okay, I'm gonna ask GPT.
So the key is he fell head first while trying to retrieve his
Oh
phone.
yeah, he got knocked
Is
out,
it?
or he just died on impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it broke his neck.
Yeah.
That sucks. But yeah, so I mean, it says it's a big paper mache statue, but it looks pretty solid though. Like some pretty strong paper, like hardened paper mache.
Yeah, it happened in 2021.
Yeah, on my birthday actually, or uh,
Oh, his name was never
scrolling through my
officially released to
right,
the public,
right,
so that,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
but it did make international headlines. Oh, that's too bad.
yeah,
The father looked inside the leg through a crack and saw that it appeared to be a corpse.
yeah.
Uh,
That's fucked up though. Imagine like you and your son are hanging out, like, oh, dude, what does that smell, man? Jesus. And you go, let's go, and you find a body, like a person's leg.
yeah, it says it's believed he accidentally got stuck while trying to retrieve his dropped phone.
Right,
He was missing for a few days. He may have
right,
climbed in the statue, dropped his phone into it, slid inside the leg to retrieve it, but couldn't get out. There were no signs of foul play or violence, so it's a full ruled an accidental death.
right,
However, because of its unusual and somewhat macabre, the circumstances were people speculate wildly online. Some theories include suicide. Some people possibly someone uh, pushing him in. There's no evidence of that, though. The possibility that the statue had structural weakness and allow someone to slip inside, but made it impossible to escape. Yeah, honestly, I think after hearing all that, I don't know. It just seems like a tragic case of someone who, like, he just,
yeah.
got hit on the
This
head and,
Right. Like I said, like he probably like we've all been there where we drop the phone slips out of your hand and then it falls and it bounces and we're like, how the come on. Of all the
hmm
places it could have fallen, it just happened to slide perfectly into that weird crack. And now I gotta climb in this dinosaur's leg and get the god damn it. And he's
hmm
like he has a lisp the entire time he's saying it.
the dinosaur's
Yeah.
leg.
Or I heard like another very like where this guy was went cave divers where they go climbing into caves and shit like that, like underwater.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, this one guy climbed into a cave and he got stuck like head first. And they were able to reach him, but they couldn't get him back out. So they just left him there and puttied over the hole.
What?
They covered up they just left him in there and covered up. They couldn't get him out. So like, oh well, sorry, man. And they just covered up the hole. Like put so no one else could go in there and get stuck, but he's fucked. He's just there. Like,
So
we
they
can't get you out,
covered
man.
the hole while he's still alive?
Inside there, yeah.
Wow.
That was another one that like I didn't have enough. I really didn't have enough detail on this one, but that one I didn't have enough detail to really like to go into it. But I was like that they're kind of similar stories where like, yeah, someone got stuck and then just, but that's fucked up. They're just like, yeah, man, they could talk to him and like, yeah, we're closing up now, pal.
Damn.
That
Can
sucks.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
But he's an idiot. Who does what? That's what you get for fucking.
Yeah,
Yeah, no one put you there. He wasn't like hiding from anyone. He wasn't hiding from refugees, or he was like a refugee or something like that. He just decided
from the refugees.
Yeah, he's hiding from refugees. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he wasn't. He just
Yeah.
did that for fun, and that's all right. Well,
Okay. This is the death of Chris Kremers and Lisa Ann Froon. This
Ooh.
happened back in 2014.
Mm.
Okay, so these two Dutch tourists disappeared while hiking in Panama. See, you said that's the safest place is Panama.
Did I? On
Yeah.
that
And a couple episodes back.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
okay, so just because of one story,
this is
maybe
compelling
it's because
evidence.
it's maybe, when did this happen though?
2014.
Ooh, that's kind of recent too. Or maybe
Yeah.
in the last 10 years they've really,
They really beefed up
they
security and
beefed up
like,
security
oh
and
yeah, everybody's really
citizens have really
safe.
like come together. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Their remains were found months later, but the details are disturbing. Their phone showed attempts to call emergency services, but they were in an area where they should have service. The camera recovered from their belongings contained eerie photos, including one taken deep in the night showing rocks arranged in a pattern and Lisa's hair in the frame. A shoe was found with the foot still inside,
Oh shit.
and some bones showing signs of bleaching, possibly due to exposure or chemicals. Theories range from injury and starvation to foul play or even something supernatural. Like, I
So they
swear,
never
some people want to believe some of the most lighthearted bullshit so that their fucking little, the way some people view the world is really
right,
annoying to me. Like,
right,
you could have some of the most horrific evidence placed in front of them and like,
right,
oh, maybe they just got hypothermia and
right.
stripped their clothes off,
Well, I mean,
or,
Ted Bundy's mom was like still like he's innocent until he was like dead.
well,
Yeah. So I mean, and
that
there's all
guy,
kinds of evidence, you know.
well, and yeah, she
People are just
just wanted to
denial,
believe her
and it's
son.
yeah, people just don't want to believe like that there's like that kind of
That kind of crap.
darkness
Well,
out
yeah, and
there.
I
Yeah,
know that, but it's
yeah.
like you can't be willfully ignorant like that. Like you have to at least like
You can be, you shouldn't be, but yeah, they definitely can be. You know,
it's
people are
just it's
all the
fucking
time. It
no,
is
I know it's fucking annoying because
infuriating.
look, I don't go looking for that kind of shit. However, I'm aware that it goes on,
All right, keep your
like
head on a
I
swivel.
exactly. But anyway,
So they never really found out what happened.
yeah, they
It's
just
just
found their
theories.
belongings and they found just a couple crazy photos and their phones like they showed them trying to call but they couldn't, or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And but they were in an area where they should have had service, so it's like they should have been able to make those calls and yeah.
And this was over there in Deutschland. No, that's Germany, isn't it?
No, they're Dutch tourists,
All
but
right.
this happened in Panama, the
Oh,
safe,
right. You said Panama, yeah.
luxurious
Right.
Panama.
Ooh, Panama, Panama.
In
Uh,
Panama.
and this is only like what 11 years ago, huh?
I know.
No
That's what
idea.
they were in their early 20s. They were Dutch college students from the Netherlands. They traveled to Boquete, Panama to volunteer, learn Spanish, and enjoy Central America. They were described as responsible, smart, and adventurous, but not reckless. March 15th, they arrived in Boquete, a popular destination for backpackers and nature lovers. On April 1st, they went on a day hike along the Pianista Trail.
The Pianista Trail.
Ah, bara.
Ah,
That's fucking Italian.
mm. Doesn't matter. You still got the. They're excited about it. What was it called again?
Pianista.
Pianista. All right. That's how I say it in Panama, right?
Completely.
Right.
A well-known path that leads into the jungle-covered mountains of Panama. They were accompanied only by a small dog named Blue. Or Bluey. No, I'm just kidding.
If you didn't say it, I was going to.
They're both women. I thought it was a dude and
I guess it is Chris with a K.
Oh my God, I heard about this story. Oh my God, is this that story?
Oh, you heard about the one you're telling me about? Yeah, okay, I'd hope so.
Well, shut the fuck up.
I know what you mean. You heard about it elsewhere, and you're like, oh
I
shit.
watched a show about it. Yeah, this
Right.
documentary about it. Like these girls went to this foreign country. I didn't know it was Panama, but they went and were trying to like immerse themselves with the locals and all this stuff. And they went on some hike or whatever with these guys, and then they were just never found. Like these guys were their tour guides or whatever, but they
Right.
were talking about how like trafficking and all that kind of because
Right.
is like crazy there. And it's, yeah. Anyway, they were accompanied by their dog who returned home later that day, but the women did not. The girls didn't show up for their appointments next day. A massive search effort was launched, including local guides, police, and hikers, indigenous trackers. and eventually the Dutch authorities. No sign of them for over 2 months. And then in June, a local woman from a nearby village found a blue backpack on the bank of the river. It was confirmed to belong to the girls and miraculously contained dry items despite exposed to being in the jungle for weeks. Yeah, see, I think someone dumped that.
Well, no. So like, I'm reading some other thing, and this like reporter really got involved in this case because she was saying 13 years prior to this incident or whatever, she was in the same. She was hiking in the same area, and a man attacked her on a trail. And like then but she was able to escape. But she said she never forgot about the trauma. She's like, she feels like something like that could have happened to them.
I think I saw that this chick, she's like blonde, and she was talking about how she was there, and they like these people will like take you, or they'll just find you on these trails, and like there'll be a guy ahead and then a guy behind,
Right.
and they'll trap you and they'll like hold you captive, and they'll either, it's like, I don't know, it's not always like, I don't know. How do I say this? It's
Just whatever they want. Just you're now theirs. You're now their possession.
exactly. Yeah,
they
you're
can do
just their
whatever they want.
possession. You could do whatever the fuck. Yeah, exactly. And one of the girls escaped, and there was another girl that was brought in when she was there, and yeah. And so she was saying, I remember watching the whole thing about that. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Like when you find a story and you get into it and you're like, wait, I already know this story. I saw something about this like 4 years ago.
I know. Yeah.
I had a
for
few of that.
real.
I was listening to a podcast recently, and then like 30 minutes in, I was like, wait a second, is it that 3-part documentary I saw like 2 years ago? There's a 3-part documentary called Born Evil, and it's about this. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but then I heard a podcast about her, and yeah, that shit's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the Born Evil, you know who Michael Bay is?
Like the film guy?
Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did this documentary. It's kind of weird. I was like, okay,
is it really epic?
Yeah, there's explosions, and yeah, it's not really, dude. It makes those. It's kind of weird that he's the one. I was expecting
Hans Zimmer,
I know, right?
see the guy that does the music,
dude. I saw a documentary on him. He's actually pretty cool. How his career.
Who, Hans Zimmer?
Yeah,
I know. I love him.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite composers. Yeah, I really like him.
He seems like a cool guy too. But he's definitely a music geek. All right, but
anyway,
so
I want to circle back to the backpack. So like they they find it by this river, on the bank of a river, which, mind you, rivers don't just stay the same all the time. Okay, they constantly ebb and flow and get high and low and this and that. And when it rains, you know what I mean, in a jungle. Right. But they found their belongings, and they were all dry. Okay, there was cell phones, a digital camera, sunglasses, $83 in cash, Lisa Ann's passport, and a water bottle, and all of it. Like, come on, like that shit was dumped. Okay,
right.
Their phones were used multiple times after April 1st, an attempt to call 911 and 112. Some calls were made within hours of starting the hike. For the next several days, the phones were turned off, on and off. Eventually, Lisa Ann's phone died, and Chris's phone was being accessed with the wrong pin repeatedly, possibly by someone else in a state of confusion. This suggests that someone survived for at least 11 days. Now, the camera has over 100 photos were taken on April 8th between 1 and 4 a.m., over a week after they had vanished. Many were completely dark with no obvious subjects, like someone was blindly snapping photos in the dark. A few showed odd things. There was rocks rearranged in a pattern, a plastic bag tied to a branch, what looks like a blood stained or scratches on someone's skin. And one image appeared to show the back of Chris's head, possibly indicating she was already injured or dead. Shortly after the backpack was found, a boot with the foot still inside was discovered along the riverbank. Then bones from both women were found scattered over the wide area. Forensic testing confirmed they belonged to the women. Some bones had no signs of trauma, but others, particularly Chris's pelvis, suggested fractures. Lisa's bones showed signs of decomposition, but Chris's appeared unnaturally clean and possibly bleached, sparking speculation. No cause of death was ever confirmed. So there were theories to an accidental death. They got lost.
Right.
Dark photos may have been attempts to signal rescuers or dark.
Mhm.
Like, shut up, people, with that stupid
So,
shit.
I mean, yeah, a lot of what I've been seeing is like they found that there's about 50 cases of other women going missing in that same little area. That's about 40-mile stretch. And they said that also femicide is a huge thing in that region, which is like, you know what femicide is, right? It's basically where they kill someone based on just their gender, which would be feminine in this side. So if you're a woman, it's the same thing as it's a hate crime. They're killing you just because you're a woman.
That's what they're saying here. It's like,
right.
They suggest there could be foul play, just some random
100%.
guy fucking. Obviously, there's foul play, but what I mean is like just some random person, fucking with them. And then they're thinking ritualistic or human trafficking elements. These remote areas have been linked to cartels and dangerous groups, although no direct link was found, which is so fucking stupid. Of course, they can't find a link to that because you think the cartels are going to leave a trace,
Right.
Or they also suggest paranormal or supernatural ones with all the eerie bullshit. But I don't know. Then this one with the third person being there, which can link back to just somebody fucking with them, like foul play, the incorrect pin multiple times.
Right. It could be a lot. And then, they're organs stealing. What's it called?
Oh, the
harvesting or organ harvesting.
Oh, yeah.
There could be all kinds of reasons that they would or just because they wanted to kill women because it's fun. You know what I mean? Like there's any number of reasons, but definitely foul play was they didn't just get lost and then their foot falls off in a boot. And you know what I mean? Like, and all this other random ass shit happens. And then there's taking pictures.
Lost my foot.
Yeah.
Let me just grab that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that definitely seems like that's what I was saying. 100%, dude. There's got to be some kind of foul play in my opinion. But
totally. Okay.
But again, it's another one of those ones that you're just bringing some mysteries to the table, some unsolved mysteries to the table today, huh?
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
I hate that show, by the way. I fucking hate that show, dude. Oh, there's no closure, and then the worst is when my wife puts it on when I don't notice, and I'll come into the room like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's a murder case. Let's see what happens. And then at the end of it, they're like, we still don't know. And I'm like, what the hell is unsolved mysteries? You son of a.
I hate that show. That show always creeped me out.
It never gets. There's no closure.
Well, yeah, but it creeped me out. Like what happened to them? It just made me really.
Oh no, it's always fucked up stories.
Yeah, it's scary as shit.
And the worst part is they're not solved.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I need answers.
All
right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give us a quick little palate cleanser. I'm gonna go ahead and give us one that was solved. I suppose you could say. This one involves 3 people. So imagine this. Imagine this. It's 1988. We're in Buenos Aires, Argentina. All right. You got a woman walking to work. You got another woman walking to meet her lover, and then you got an old man sitting smoking a cigar on a bench outside. Right. So one woman's walking, and a dog falls from an apartment building and lands on her head and kills her and the dog instantly. Another woman sees this, is trying to process this, and walks into the middle of the street, gets hit by a bus. Another guy,
Jesus Christ,
witnessing all this, like he gets up and tries to help, panics, and has a heart attack, and he drops dead. And this all happened, they say, within a matter of 17 seconds.
I think I've seen a video about this. Yeah.
Right. So imagine that. Again, you're just walking to work. One lady's walking to work. One's going to go meet her Latin lover, whatever. And this other guy's just chilling, having an espresso, outside of a coffee shop. And then next thing you know, they're all dead because a dog fell off a roof. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I know
bizarre. That is fucking bizarre.
And I don't have any of their names. I don't need them. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's crazy. That's a scene right there. And imagine being the bus driver, though. He didn't die. He just saw all this shit happen. He killed one of them, but.
Fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, God damn, that's a scene right there, dude.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something.
That does. That sounds like an ending to a Quentin Tarantino movie, but
or a beginning,
or it's the beginning. That's actually the ending. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's Quentin Tarantino. I have another one. Do you have another one? I have another quick one. If you want to go and do that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just because yours are a little bit longer. So this
Yeah,
one is
because
another.
mine are better researched.
Right, yeah,
I have more
you
stuff.
do, you
No,
do,
I'm
but
just
at the
playing. I'm playing.
end of
I'm
the
playing. I'm playing.
day,
I'm
mine
playing.
have closure. Mine have
I'm
closure.
gonna have
You
closure.
go home feeling good about yourself after these
Oh, shut
deaths.
the fuck up. After these deaths.
All right, so this one's called "Laughing to Death." So this
That could happen to
50.
me.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, dude. If we play our cards right, we may be on this one next. You know what I'm saying? We could kill someone next. But all
Dude,
right, so
little
this
quick sidebar. I was tripping on acid one night with a friend and
sure.
I got in a laugh loop and I couldn't stop. Like literally couldn't stop. And I was
Okay.
like, is this gonna be me forever?
No, check this out. Okay. So 50-year-old Alex Mitchell took a bunch of acid with a friend. No, just kidding. No, no. 50-year-old Alex Mitchell could not stop laughing for a continuous 25-minute period, almost the entire length of a TV show called Kung Fu Capers. Whoa, and suffered a fatal heart attack as a result of the strain placed on his heart.
Oh my God.
Alex's widow later sent the goodies, who were the stars of the show, a letter thanking them for making his final moments so pleasant. But yeah, he laughed for a full 25 minutes because the show was so funny, and then he died because of it.
Wow.
So
That
you could
really
have
could have
died.
been me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have been you, and then that's the end of you.
Because yeah, my heart too. I don't think my heart could take that either. My heart's got like an irregular rhythm.
33 minutes tops, dude. Continuous though. Imagine just
I know. Well,
how
I
hard he
know.
laughed.
I laughed for. I had to finally make myself stop after like 5 to 10 minutes. Like
Right.
it was a couple minutes.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and it starts to hurt after a while. Like your abs start to feel like you worked out. You start to get like a short of breath. You're crying. So imagine 20, like a full
and you don't even know
five
what
of
you're
those.
laughing about. Like that was
Yeah, I
the
know
worst.
and it's you're laughing because you're still laughing. You know what I mean? That the fact that you're
Mhm.
still laughing is what makes it funny. You don't even know anymore, but it's
I
just
kept thinking about that scene from Mary Poppins at the end, and they're like, I love to laugh. Ha, ha,
I
ha, ha.
don't, I haven't seen Mary Poppins in wow.
That's a
It's been a
good one.
while. Yeah,
That
actually,
also, I feel like she gave the children drugs and they went
mhm.
into sight of paintings. Like, come on.
Right,
That,
right.
yeah, that's an acid trip. She took the kids on an acid trip completely.
Dude, so much shit that used to be like considered family friendly, family friendly would not. That was so hard to say.
I love how tongue tied you are today.
I know I'm really tongue tied today, dude. Family friendly things that used to be family friendly back in the day. I'm killing it right now. We're not we're not that friendly. Would not fly today, dude. They would not pass. In this today's society.
Well, half the people wouldn't get it. I'm telling you, they can still get away with it. Nobody understands symbolism.
Well, no. I'm just saying, no symbolism. I'm talking about like just straight up people, like stuff that people, like for
Well,
instance.
clearly that scene was symbolism of. Wait, let me say that again.
Was it clearly? Was it clearly that?
Clearly, the scene was symbolism. Like she's not actually saying, "Here, kids, come take this acid. Let's go on a trip." Like she's giving them like a cough or this medicine, having some sugar. See, you put acid on a sugar cube.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
helps the medicine
it
go
was a
down.
very thinly veiled fucking. Anyway,
God, I'm so smart.
yeah. All right, and then go ahead. You said you had
Ah, shit.
Now pressure's on. Laughing time's over. All right, now you get to laugh. Please laugh.
Laughing time's over. No more laughing for you.
Nope. Not
Yeah, you're the hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good follow-up to the Dyatlov Pass story last week. This is the case of Gary Mathias and the Yuba County Five. It is one of the strangest missing person stories in U.S. history, commonly referred to as America's Dyatlov Pass. It involves 5 young men from Northern California who went out for a basketball game and ended up in a remote snowy forest under terrifying and still unexplained circumstances. 4 of them were found dead. Gary Mathias was never found. This is kind of creepy because this is like up kind of by where I live. That's kind of creepy. Anyway, their ages range from 24 to 32. All of the men except for Gary Mathias had mild intellectual disabilities or psychiatric conditions. Well, that changes a lot.
Say that again. Tell that part.
All of the men except for Gary had mild intellectual disabilities, kind of like us.
Oh, right.
Or
Offensive. I thought you were trying to like clear your throat to hint something to me. Go ahead and say it. Retarded. All right, sorry.
Offensive. Oh.
All right. But yeah, so they were all had mild cases
or had psychiatric conditions. Gary,
wow, okay. And they're all on a basketball team together? Yeah, wow.
No, they're going to see a basketball game.
Oh. Well, that's not the same as I got
Gary
that all wrong.
Was a U.S. Army veteran diagnosed with schizophrenia. Well, that's a psychiatric condition. Why are they saying he didn't have it, but he was diagnosed? Okay, but anyway.
I guess he had a light schizophrenia. Just a light.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. A touch of the phrenia, you know?
Exactly.
And he was reportedly doing well on medication at the time. Oh, okay. Well, that means he doesn't have it then, guys.
Yeah. All good now.
They all lived with their families in Yuba City and were very close. On February 24th, 1978, the night they vanished, the men attended a college basketball game in Chico. They were excited when they had a Special Olympic-style basketball game the next day and had even laid out uniforms for it at home.
Aww. I just imagine like their moms laid their,
No, the kids did. That's cute.
Yeah, that's adorable.
But they're not kids. They're grown men.
That's what I'm saying. I imagine their moms, like they're grown men, their moms like laid their outfits out for them.
Well, I mean, they're all retarded. So
yeah, retarded. You know what? For some reason, that does make it more acceptable when you say it like that.
Retarded. I know. Yeah. It's kind of like saying retard.
It softens it. Yeah, it softens
like
it a little
retard.
Bit. Yeah, he's retarded.
He's a retard, or he's retarded. After the Chico game, they stopped at a convenience store for snacks and then disappeared. Their families were immediately concerned none of the men would have willingly skipped their own game. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. They missed their game.
So wait a second. Are they playing or are they just watching? I'm so confused.
They watched a college basketball game, and then they were excited when they found out that they had a Special Olympic-style basketball game the next day. When they had a retarded style.
That was unexpected.
They got all the retards together. And they had a basketball game. They shot the shoots. They should. Yeah, I can't have
that. They shot the shoots? All right. They shot him. Those damn shoots over there in the north wing. Gotta shoot them down.
That's the name of our team. We're the Miami Shoots.
And they shut them down.
Actually, that would be more of a
DC. It's more of a Washington DC kind of a name. The Washington Shoots. You're trying to go for like a gang violence area.
No, I was going for like a country, like people who actually have gun rights, like Wyoming and
all right, or Texas,
Nevada Shoots.
Yeah.
Or Texas, not for long.
No, I know. How's side note? But how are the gun laws doing over there in California?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay. I don't want. You're all sad. I saw you're sad. I don't want to talk about it. But now, go ahead. All right, so
okay.
Gary and the Retards. That's the name of the band. It's the name of the band.
They're retarded. Okay.
Yeah.
So they found the car a few days later. It was abandoned in the Plumas National Forest, 70 miles away from Chico and way off their intended route. It was in good working condition with gas in the tank. There was no signs of being stuck. The men had clearly just left it behind. Strangely, the road was rough and remote. None of them were familiar with the area. And one of the guys who drove hated dirt roads. So why were they all there?
Right.
When the snow melted in June, searchers made horrifying discoveries. Ted Wheeler's body was found in a Ranger trailer 20 miles from the car. He had starved to death for over 8 to 13 weeks, lost 100 pounds, severe frostbite, beard growth, suggesting he survived a long time. But inside the trailer was food, matches, heating materials, heavy clothing, and none of those were used. That's kind of crazy.
But I mean, here's the thing, though.
Don't blame them being retarded. Okay,
come on. It got staffed for something.
They're not that dumb. Okay, they're not you.
I didn't say they were dumb. I said they were retarded. All right, sorry.
They're retarded.
But yeah. I mean,
this is one of the weirdest parts.
The thing, because so the fact that you said that he was an army, like an ex-army guy and all that stuff, you think he would like all those. You would have some basic
That's not
survival.
Him. No,
it's not him.
Yeah, that was a different guy that was found in the. I'm going through it. Just wait. Okay.
All right, fine.
This is one of the weirdest parts.
Hmm.
He was freezing and starving next to survival supplies.
Right.
Jackie Hewitt's bones were found a few miles away. Bill Sterling's body was found nearby as well. Jack Madruga's body was located further from the car, all showing signs of exposure or starvation, not violence. But where was Gary Mathias? His shoes were found inside the trailer, suggesting he made it there. He may have taken Wheeler's shoes and gone back out for help. But Gary Mathias's body was never found. There were no footprints, no confirmed sightings, no remains. He just simply vanished. So theories are, yeah, I mean, yeah, the theories are someone, because he's the only schizophrenic one, you know.
Right, he lost his mind, went crazy, thought they were like
probably went off
him.
If he was feeling good, he was cured since he was on his medication.
Right, exactly.
So
I'm good now. He stopped doing it. They made me feel funny. It made me slow, you know.
But see,
and then he fucking started seeing bats in their faces and.
Locals claimed that they heard screaming in the woods around the time of their disappearance. A man later came forward saying he saw them in a red pickup, possibly being followed. Could they have fled from someone or something? Then another theory is Gary Mathias snapped or became violent. Some suspect Gary may have had a schizophrenic episode or led to the group into the woods. But by all accounts, he was stable and deeply close with the others. No evidence suggests violence or struggle.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
Some wonder if extreme cold or confusion led to irrational decisions, but food and warmth were right there in the trailer. Why wouldn't anyone use them? Like, that's the kind of, that's what kind of is weird for me, too.
Have you ever seen that show Yellow Jackets?
No, what's that about? I've only just seen the thumbnail.
It's really good. It's actually good. So it's about this. It's kind of based on a true story, but they've like taken some strong artistic liberties. So it's not, they can't really say, but it's like based. But anyway, this in like the mid '90s, this high school all girls soccer team gets to go to nationals, right? And then their plane crashes on the way in like the wilderness, and then they survive for like a year and a half. And then so they survive for the year and a half. They end up getting rescued, and then so it basically is showing, but they're now all adults. It's like they're about our age basically, and they're all adults now, and it's kind of showing like their lives now, but their lives are still being affected from, you know, that trauma they suffered. And there's also some like supernatural element. They're not really sure what was out there with them, but they were out there for like a year and a half, and they had to do some crazy shit, like, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to check.
I don't want to give it away, but they had to do some wild shit. It's a good watch. I highly recommend it.
Okay, cool.
And then since we're speaking of wilderness deaths and stuff like that, like, yeah, they had to do a lot of survival in the wilderness, and, you know, I don't want to give it away, but they had to do some shit that, you know, would you do it? Would you go that far? You know, but
like what?
All right, so basically they have to eat one of their friends. They had to eat a couple of their friends. Like their friends die first. Obviously, they don't kill anyone, but one of their friends, she gets mad at one of the other friends, so she goes outside to sleep outside. Like, fine, I'm just gonna sleep outside, but it snows, and she dies of hypothermia. And they have been trying to hunt for months, and like the hunting's getting difficult, and they only have so much food, and like they're really, really, really starving. And so they're like, "Fuck it, let's cook Jackie," and then they fucking all eat their friend.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's again based. I mean, yeah, you think you'd be able to?
I mean,
eat a friend?
That's the thing. I don't know. You know, like sitting here now, it's like
right with your popcorn kernels.
Popcorn.
Yeah, of course you're like, I would never eat you, bro. But I mean, like, shit, if you're like 6 months in, you've only.
You know, a lot of survival stories, like there's a lot of people you read about where they had to eat the. I mean, if it's between death and survival, like, I'm sorry, your survival instincts eventually are going to kick in.
Like the Donner Party, that whole Donner Party thing.
Yeah, you know,
they were drawing straws.
I don't fault them for it, you know. I don't know what I would do, honestly.
Exactly.
I really don't.
Meaning that hunger in that situation.
That dire, I mean, shit. When I'm super hungry just from not eating for like a couple hours, I'll eat whatever my mom put in front of me, kind of thing. You know, I'm like, fine, I'll eat the vegetables, I'll eat that, whatever. So if I'm starving for days and days and days and days, and I gotta eat little Timmy, why did I say little Timmy?
I don't know. You got real specific, dude. It's like, you know, a guy. You have a specific guy with thick cheeks in mind.
Thick cheeks.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. But
Yeah, I know,
Uh,
like in that kind of desperation,
right.
like
And it was, and again, it was like they're out. It's a bunch of them, and they're like teenagers too. One of them was actually found out she was pregnant. They were, and it's like they're when you're a teenager, that hunger's different. And imagine going months and months, and like
mhm.
all you had like one buffalo that you guys are having to like ration, and you guys are like trying to eat. What if you could hopefully find a berry or two? So you're really just like you're, I don't know, man. Homeboy might
That's crazy. I
might
know.
do it.
But I want to shift gears to some strange stories. This one is about like this guy goes on a road trip and he stops in this weird quiet town in Utah, and it was like nothing struck him as odd at first. He got a gas. Clerk was like, "Oh, sorry, it's my first day," and fumble with stuff and then whatever. And so he would go on, and then they went to get a hotel, and the person couldn't help check him in, and they're like, "Sorry, it's my first day." And then they decide to go get food. Same thing. The person who helped him, so, "Oh, sorry, it's my first day." And
Wait,
I'm
start
like,
over. Start over. Start. Are you telling the story right now?
yeah, this all spurred from this story because
Oh, okay.
I didn't take notes on it. I just kind of
Okay.
remembered the key points. It was just like weird happenings, but enough weird happenings to make him kind of take notice of it. And
Okay.
so
All right. Sorry. I was like,
everywhere he stopped in this small town, it was everybody's first day, and they were all fumbling. It was like somebody would come up from the back, and was like,
mhm.
"Oh, hey," like,
Oh, it's my first day. You're like, again?
yeah. And it's like, and then he would go, get food or whatever, and like nobody would be in there, and then they would come in and be like, "Oh, sorry," and like try to help check, and then it's all fucked, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, it's my first day," and
What
then
kind of
he'd
town
go,
is this?
"Yeah, like what the fuck is this? Am I on a movie set?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I went into the comments to see what people thought about it, and I
Right.
actually found comments of people sharing their stories. So I was like, okay, this is
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
So this one person said, my grandma and I went to Denny's for Thanksgiving one year, and we saw an older woman by herself. Her name was Sylvia. We had a great Thanksgiving dinner with her. She was a very nice lady. Later on, through the dinner, Sylvia proceeded to tell my grandmother and me a story of her when she was a child. So her and her family were on a road trip. It was getting dark one of the nights they were traveling. They see this busy town and they drive into the city, find a spot, pull over, and fall asleep for the night. The very next morning, they wake up. There's nothing there. No town, no people, no cars, just desert. The mom wakes them up and they are so spooked they leave right away.
All right.
Understandably, they continue on and find a gas station. They went into the gas station. They asked the person working the cash register if he's real. Then he said, "Let me guess, you ran into the haunted town that disappeared."
Mhm.
Apparently, they weren't the first people that's happened to. Okay, another one was my sister. My sister-in-law and I were driving through Erie, PA a few years back. I passed a slow driver, looked at him to see why he was driving so slow, as you do.
Right. Yeah.
Passed him, but watched as he got off the exit. I moved back into that lane. 10-ish minutes later, I was getting closer to another slow go. And my sister pointed out that I looked, it was the same car, but there was no entrance ramp since he exited. So we laughed and I moved into the other lane around it, and it was the same guy. Like how? I made a
What the
comment
hell?
about him and our slow go drivers. On our way back a few days later, just before we reached Erie, PA exit, we saw the same car with the same guy driving. I decided
What?
he's a robot that's patrolling the freeway.
Something, dude. That's weird. Or like and it's in Erie, Pennsylvania too,
I
and
know, I was
that's
going to comment on that part too. Like, it's a little
fucking eerie. Yeah.
eerie.
Right.
This one made me laugh because this guy goes, I remember taking a road trip once with my two best friends. It was around 9 p.m. We rolled into a small town in Humboldt County, California.
Mm.
We saw a bar restaurant and we were so hungry, so we went in. But when we walked in, there was no people sitting at the bar or tables. The place was dark with no lights, but there were a few people in there looking like maybe they worked there as they were going in and out of the kitchen. I'm like,
It's their first
dude,
day.
I was like, dude, you're in Humboldt County. All the bars are
Yeah,
like
that's how
that
it is, bro. Yeah.
in a small
Sorry, we
town.
have bad service around here, but
Well, no, sorry, there's only like nobody's
yeah, why
out
would they be
tonight.
out there? There's like just one guy. It's not
Hmm.
bad service. They're just waiting for their shift to be over, and you just happen to come in.
This is funny. He said we sat there for like 20 minutes, no one approaching or saying anything to us. It was eerie. I'm like, that's Humboldt County. I sat at the bar forever until someone finally, like, Trust me, Humboldt County, nobody's there. Nobody's at the bars. They're only busy on the weekends, and if that, like the
Right.
bar, yeah, it's a very. It would be funny if he, I don't know, that he could be anywhere in Humboldt County because every bar is like that. They're all dive bars with shitty service
Right.
and drinks that will fuck you up in like a sip.
Yeah, they just have like I remember this one time when I lived in Washington, like the first time I lived in Bremerton, and I went with that same friend that had the fake English accent. That one last story I told you.
Hmm.
We went in together, and he was dressed like he was wearing like a not quite a puffy shirt, but you know I'm talking about like
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld and the puffy.
But
So we
I
go
don't
in
want to
there.
be a pirate.
Yeah, I don't want to be a pirate. Yeah, so we go in, and then this guy goes, this guy he says to us, it goes, "Hey, um, I didn't know they let fags in this bar." And then my friend goes, "Oh, well, what are you doing here then?" Or something like that. And the guy gets mad. The guy gets his feathers ruffled, right?
Hmm.
And then he says something else, and then he goes like, "Hey, what are you fags getting into tonight?" He's like, "Oh, nothing. We're just gonna fuck each other later on. You want to join or something like that?" And then the guy got really mad. He's like, "Oh, you faggots want to fuck? You want to fight, huh?" And he gets all really pissed off. And we almost got in this huge fight with this guy, right? Over my friend wearing like a puffy shirt, basically, right? But anyway, I also was like, "This is crazy." The guy left or whatever, and then I was like, "Let me get a Long Island iced tea," and they're like, "Sure," and they gave me a pitcher, and I was like, "No, I just want." I'm sorry, I said a Long Island iced tea. And they're like, "Yeah, here you go, $5." And they gave me a pitcher of Long Island tea so it was like it went from like a terrible experience to like, holy shit, I'm gonna get trash for $5, dude. So I was like, that's what I imagine, like a shitty dive bar with service, but they'll get you fucked up.
Hmm.
You will leave trashed.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a guarantee.
Yeah, you're gonna
Okay,
like the way you look. I guarantee.
guarantee it.
Actually, that guy got sued. You can't say that anymore.
Oh well, I'm cutting that out then.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know if that happened. Too clever, too late, too late.
Too late. Pew, 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 pew. So I saw this video on YouTube and I thought it was really crazy. I had to watch it a couple times to make sure I got it all. But there was this guy that was going to school at this college. See, this is the part that's foggy. I can't remember if he was walking by somebody playing football, but somehow he got hit in the head really
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
and like fell and hit the back of his head. And he was unconscious for like,
10 seconds, wasn't it?
yeah, wasn't it only 10 seconds?
It was real quick.
He comes to and he's like screaming for his wife and his children. And he's like, everyone's looking at him like, what are you talking about? And he's like yelling out because he was married to this woman. They met in college and they were in love and had this family, and
Two children.
yeah, they had two children together and they were young children too, and in this house that they lived in, he said that there was this red lamp that was always like blurry. And he was like, always like, what's up with this lamp? And then one time it was upside down. So it was just like really peculiar thing in the room. And then when they finally, when they
Yeah, he
tell
thought he
him,
was having a stroke or something like that.
yeah, like they tell him like, hey, you were only out for a few like, and you don't have this family, like
Right.
none of that was real. And like he grieved it like really hard. And
Right.
it was
Because
just,
yeah, basically he had to grieve the loss of a family that didn't exist.
oh yeah, like I can't imagine. Like that is
Yeah.
literally I've heard stories
The
about
worst
that.
nightmare, dude.
I mean, I've heard stories like that before, people going into a coma or like going
Mm.
into surgery and like having a weird whatever, being knocked out. I don't know, but I've heard of stories like this and just having a completely or sometimes I'm like, what if I wake up and none of this happened?
Right. What if you're there right now? What if this is your coma? What if this
Exactly. Yeah,
whole podcast is
yeah.
your coma?
Oh, God.
Oh, I heard another one that was kind of like almost opposite of that, where this guy was in a coma for like it was like 15 years, 20 years, something like that.
Wow.
But he said that when he finally woke up, he said that the entire time he could hear everybody. He could hear his mom when she would come and read to him, and he was conscious the whole time, but he couldn't communicate or with his outward body. So he was mentally
Oh
conscious. And
God.
imagine just being trapped. He said it felt like being trapped in a room that you can't move, you can't do anything. You're just hearing voices and everything, but you can't experience them any other way.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck that, dude. Right? That's a nightmare, dude. I think.
That's some crazy karma.
Yeah, dude. Karma. The guy. I think he was in a some kind of accident when he was like 12 or something like that. It was
Yeah, but karma from
what,
past lives,
right?
bro.
I guess
Like
so,
that's
man.
how it works. Commit a crime that you don't pay for, and now you're stuck
Mm,
in this body, this prison, and you have to stay in this prison.
fuck, dude. Well,
Nah.
but yeah, that'd be either one of those would be fucked up if like just waking up from a coma is already fucked up, but then realizing that either all the shit that you thought was your life didn't exist at all, or just being like, yeah, the last 20 years I was conscious and just couldn't move or doing like that's I don't know which one's worse.
I know yeah. Or people who are conscious during surgery and you can't
Yeah,
make any noise or
yeah,
face,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, fuck that.
So
Mm-mm.
speaking of comas, that reminds me of a joke real quick. You want to hear it?
Sure.
So okay, so a lady is 8 months pregnant, and she's got a deadbeat father, or so she's or not or deadbeat baby daddy, whatever. So she's walking to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, she gets hit by a car and gets put into a coma, and she's in a coma for 6 months. When she comes out of the coma, the doctor's like, "Oh my god, they're so happy that you're out of this coma. You were in a car accident 6 months ago." But don't worry, your children are fine and safe. Both twins made it out alive. Twins, by the way. And then she goes, "Oh my God, well, where are they right now?" They're like, well, they're with your brother." And she's like, "Oh my God, well, what are their names?" And they go, "Well, your brother named them." And then she goes, "God, that's terrible." They go, "Why?" "Well, because my brother's kind of stupid. That's why." And they go, "Well, what are their names though? By the way, he named the daughter Denise." And he's like, "Oh, that's not too bad. What do you name my son? The nephew." All right. That was a
Okay,
terrible
so
telling of it. That was like so tongue tied today. But anyway,
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
know. I'm fucking tongue tied today too. I'm tongue tied today too.
It's because of the freaking. You said that pretty smoothly. It's because of the daylight savings and all. I don't know.
Dude, that was
And
like a month ago. You
it's
can't
still
blame that
affecting me.
anymore.
It wasn't a month ago. It was this month. It was like last week.
No, it wasn't last week. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm telling you.
I am telling you, my friend, my friend.
When when was daylight savings
Winda,
time this year?
Winda.
It was March 9th.
That was
Okay.
like that was like last 2 weekends ago.
Told you.
That was last weekend. No, 2 weekends ago.
I told you.
Well, that's not a month.
I know, but I said it was like a couple weeks to a month ago.
No, you didn't. You said it was like a month ago, and then
And
you
I
said,
said it
"All
was
right,
a
it was like
couple
2 to 3
weeks.
weeks ago."
Yeah.
All right, it was like a what? You took every answer in the fucking.
It's like, see, yeah, I'm right.
All right, so did you want to do where are we at right now?
I'm trying to finish this segment.
All right, go ahead.
Fuck. Okay, so some of the comments in this story were kind of interesting. I swear I took more screenshots, but I cannot find them. But this one is about a guy who is originally from Australia, living in United States, had one of those kinds of experiences. At the age of 9, he died on an operating table in Adelaide from an appendicitis. He was revived 9 minutes later. In these 9 minutes, he lived an entire lifetime that spanned about 100 years. And we're talking
Jesus.
second by second, minute by minute, day by day, year by year. Full experience of a parallel life in near-death experiences. This is the fourth time I've heard of such an amazing story. Time is very mutable, facile thing, and everything can happen, does happen. And then a friend of a friend I know went into a coma for about a month. When he woke up, he was the unhappiest man as he was pulled out of a very fulfilling parallel life as a 16th century pirate. He lived a full lifetime as a pirate. He was married, had a kid, and he was completely a changed man when he woke up. It was quite sad. Oh, that sucks.
Imagine, dude. Like so yeah. So what was this guy again? Like in his regular life, what was he? Like his not pirate life,
and not pirate life.
right?
It didn't say.
Oh, imagine though. He just come back. He's like, oh, he's just like pissed at his wife. He's like, "You're not my wench from the 16th century." And he's like, "Where's Blackbeard?" He's pissed because his wife isn't like.
Or she's not. She doesn't do that butt stuff that he likes.
Exactly. I was trying to think of like what kind of pirate sex that that she won't do. I was trying to think like what kind of like pirate terms do they use for sex back then? Like, oh, she won't tell me my wanker.
to be my wanka. No, they were running from those guys. Those are the
Yeah,
British
yeah.
guys.
No, but then there's a I feel there's like a peg leg dildo situation joke somewhere in there. But
Yeah. There was this one comment a chick said, I lost my mother in 2016. It was very sudden and unexpected. In 2019, I went to bed one night and I woke up in a different reality where my mom was still alive. It was real. It didn't feel real. It was real. I lived in this reality for about 8 months. And believe me when I tell you, I lived every moment I could with my mom. She even said I was acting different. Mind you, I had no idea how long this would last, but I tried not to dwell on that. I hoped it would last forever. Other things were different too, like the car I was driving went from a leased 2013 Hyundai Elantra to a 2016 Nissan Rogue that I owned. As you can imagine, I woke up one morning back in this reality and I was extremely depressed for a while. I lost my mom for a second time. Like, God, that sucks.
yeah, dude.
The crazy part is that I have to keep telling myself and reliving certain vivid memories from that time period because the ones that I didn't replay on a regular basis has dissipated over time, and I remember them more as a dream state. But I remember how it wasn't a dream. I lived it, and I won't let that completely fade. That's fucking crazy. I heard about there was one story I heard that like I kept getting all these like fucking like infant death stories in my algorithms right before I'm about to have squish, and
Yeah,
I'm like, all
yeah.
right, well, this is cool. This is what I want to see right now.
Right.
And there was I got on this thread on Reddit that was telling crazy stories like that. And there was this one, it was about this lady who she was ready to deliver and like all these complications happen and she ended up losing the baby. And of course they come home and it's just like devastating, whatever, no baby. And then she wakes up the next day and she's still pregnant. And then like nothing happened, but she still had the marks on her wrist from the IV. Okay. And
Huh?
she still had like because you get bruises too from a lot of those IVs or whatever. She still had
Sure.
those markings on her, but her baby was still in her belly. And she goes to the hospital like the day before
Hmm.
to have this induction or whatever. And this time the baby survived.
What? Okay.
I know it was
Weird.
fucking, yeah. I
Like a
was like,
second chance.
yeah, something. Yeah, like a
Right.
time warp. There was another
Right.
time warp story, but I can't
I
remember
love
that
time
one.
warp movies. They're so hard to do though, because like, there's one little thing that'll fuck it up for me. You're like, oh, you messed that one part that now the whole timeline doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
I know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a fatal familia insomnia?
Fetal familia insomnia.
Fatal.
Oh,
Yeah.
fatal.
Fate. Not fetal, but yeah, yeah. Close,
Oh,
very
sorry.
close.
I thought you said fetal. Oh,
No, I
damn.
understand. I have my speech is terrible today. I've got a stuffy nose, but it's fatal, like you die from fatal.
Is that what
Familial,
happens?
yeah, yeah. Not fetal, which is a baby shit. Not a baby shit. You get it, whatever. But fatal familial insomnia, FFI for short, for the layman. It is a rare generative brain disorder. It is characterized by an inability to sleep that may initially be mild, but progressively worsens, leading to significant physical and mental deterioration. Affected individuals may also develop dysfunctions of the autonomic nervous system. That's a hard word to say.
Autonomic nervous
There we go.
system.
Autonomic.
No, say it again though.
Nervous system.
Autonomic.
Dysfunctions of the
Autonomic.
autonomic nervous system, the part of the nervous system that controls involuntary or automatic. Because there was automatic right by it, and I was like, fuck. Autonomic, automatic. All right. The part of the nervous system that controls involuntary or automatic body processes. So, long story short, you eventually get, and it runs in the family, you eventually get insomnia to the point that it kills you. Like you cannot sleep and then you die.
Yeah,
And then,
because you
but in the
can
process
literally
of that,
go
you go
crazy
crazy.
too.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, in the process of
Hmm.
that, you lose certain functions of your body, or like not. You lose control. So your arm will just randomly start doing things. There's cases where people are like will just start randomly stabbing or punching at things, and in the process, you also go crazy because you're not sleeping, and then you eventually die from it. And
No,
it, and it's genetic. It runs in, so you could just be born with that kind of disease. It's not something that you like if you eat too much, sweet potatoes or something like that.
it just triggers something
Yeah,
dormant.
because it is something to do with
That's
like
crazy. That's creepy.
it is something to do with it's basically the pro. Okay, so let me actually read like what it is. So
Like sleeping is
It's
my favorite thing to do,
yeah,
you
no,
know? I
yeah.
love it.
Okay, so in all instances, FFI is caused by an abnormal variant in the prion-related protein gene. Although sometimes the disorder occurs randomly without a variant PRNEP gene,
Is that
and
what
that's called
PRNEP?
PRNEP. Sporadic, and that's called sporadic fatal insomnia or SFI. And the PRNP gene, oh, God damn it, gene regulates the production of human prion protein. Alterations in this gene lead to the generations of abnormally shaped prion protein, also known as misfolded proteins, also simply known as a prion, which is toxic to the body. And it builds up over time within the thalamus of the brain. And now we're just getting real technical with it. But yeah,
Damn.
so just proteins that just don't work right. They start building up on top of each other and folding weird in a weird way. And then it fucks with your brain and you just can't sleep. And your body starts just doing stuff on its own, and you start going crazy because your body's doing stuff on its own. You're not sleeping, and you think everyone's after you. You just die.
Yeah, I saw a video about a little girl who had that, and yeah, it was really sad. And I didn't realize it was fatal because I felt bad for the parents. I'm like, man, I love when my kids take a nap, you know?
Yeah, you should feel bad for the parents. Their daughter's was just awake the entire time, and then she's dead. That sucks.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they say she sleeps for like she's still sleeping a little bit, but
Right.
yeah, eventually it's going to get worse,
No, that's what he said. Yeah, eventually it just gets worse and worse until you just don't sleep anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift
All right, I'll let her
gears.
know. Yeah. Today I fucked up.
Today I learned. I learned. We both have. He's got the today I fucked up. Well, I think all mine are today I learned.
All mine are today I fucked up. So that we'll bounce it back and forth.
Yeah, we're gonna do a today I learned and today I fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you got to learn.
A yin and a yang.
Yeah, you got to fuck up and then you can learn. You know.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so in 2022, a man won a free drink in an air guitar competition.
What? That's it?
No, I just can't stop laughing. There was an actual competition for that shit.
Oh yeah, I've seen them, dude. They're pretty out, dude. I've always wanted to. Here's the thing. I'm pretty nasty at air drums. So if there was like a whole air band,
I am the best air drummer, dude. I am such.
You are nowhere near us, dude. Fuck no, dude. I will murder you. Let's start a competition.
I can do better drums than I can a guitar.
I don't give a fuck. I'm still better than you at air drums.
Air guitar is it's okay, but man, those drums.
The drums are the best, dude. No, I even spin the stick before I hit the snare. Do you do that? Do you do that? Not just kidding. All right, go ahead. But
I bet I got a better drum fill.
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. You know what? This is the exact conversation that led to some guitar competition where a guy won a drink. So,
for real.
Okay,
right. So anyway, this guy won this air guitar competition on a cruise, which is his last
cruise. Yeah. How the fuck was there an air competition on a cruise?
It just is there, you know.
All right.
Can you imagine the posters drawing?
I know, dude. Come on this cruise. Let's go into that's what they had to do in the middle of the ocean because it's ridiculous. But anyway, go ahead.
It's retarded.
Yeah, over here. All right.
Anyway. This was his last memory before waking up overboard in the Gulf of Mexico without a ship in sight. What? He was treading water for 18 hours and was stung by not one, but 2 swarms of jellyfish all over.
Jesus.
Yeah, all over his legs and arms before being rescued. Swarm. Okay, well, someone was like, imagine how pissed you'd be if you survived a swarm of jellyfish and then a second swarm of jellyfish arrived.
After you just won a guitar.
Oh, yeah.
After you just won an air guitar competition, you're like,
it's like I'm sick
come
of
on. I was up so high.
Sorry.
All these motherfucking jellyfish on this motherfucking cruise ship.
No, it's these motherfucking jellyfish in this motherfucking ocean.
Sure. But anyway, so yeah, and then what happened?
That's it. Eventually he was rescued, obviously, because he was alive to tell the story, you know, but he had no fucking...
Oh, he told the story? I don't know. Maybe someone else was like, and then he died, but I heard...
fucking idea what happened to him, how he went overboard, like, none of that shit.
He definitely was drugged, right?
I bet the guy that got in second place was like, I need that title.
Hell no.
He got Tanya Harding,
I
dude.
know, dude. Totally,
Yeah,
man. That's a reference right there that I don't know if everyone will understand.
it's okay. They don't need to.
They can look it up. It's fucking
Yeah,
2025. All right,
David.
so
David, where
right,
does that
they don't
reference
have
come
their own
from?
personal David though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was what 94. I would say 94. That feels like
it
94 to me.
was. It
Yeah,
was. It was 94.
that was a good year
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons.
I
For
remember when
sure.
that happened because my friends and I we were playing on our rollerblades and
Right,
we were pretending like we were figure skaters
right, right.
and
That
I
was the year
was
that that rollerblades really popped,
oh
really
totally.
started to get really big. You know what I mean? Okay, good. Sorry.
Well, I remember having roller skates and then I saw somebody rollerblading when I lived in no, it
Right.
was in the 80s because I had rollerblades in Germany.
You were
I was
in the 80s.
yeah. I lived in Germany in the 80s.
I know, but you were like you remember you have memories of the 80s
Yes, I was
of skating around
yes, I was fucking 4 years. No, I was five. I was
in
five
the.
years old. I was born in
All
84.
right, you were barely five. You barely turned five in the 80s. You would
But
just lick the fucking tip of five at
the tip of
89.
five.
Yeah.
I know, but I remember it, okay? I rember a
Well, you said
lot.
the 80s like it was like 85. It's like 89 November. The fucking
It was
asshole. Yes.
still the 80s. But I moved
Still
there.
counts.
I moved there in 88, okay?
Mm.
I remember it. I
Yeah, I was
remember it.
89 too when I got there. I was 89. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it was the end of 80. I can't remember, but I was definitely there in 89.
sure.
And
Uncle
then
Buck was fresh in the theaters. All right.
because I started school there too, and I was 4 when I started school. I
That's
remember.
what I was gonna say. That's why you were a year ahead of me. Because like, if that show wouldn't have flown anywhere else, because like you would have had to wait till you were because with your
I had to
birthday
wait
being
till I
at
was
November,
5. Yeah.
yeah, and you got you, so they let you start a little early, huh? That's why. Because I was like, we should have
Yeah.
been in the same grade, but somewhere,
I
Germany,
graduated. I
you
graduated
German,
in '02.
God, nine had you graduate. And that's why you're like, you have the superiority complex. You're like, I graduated a year
I'm
earlier.
smarter. I am.
Germany. Those
I know
damn
everyone's like,
Germans.
"Did you skip a grade?" I'm like,
I know.
"Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, totally, man."
No, it was the Germans. It was the Germans.
The Germans.
Yeah. All right. That's another snatch reference. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I screenshotted more of notes. I have more information on this guy.
Okay.
Sorry. He admitted to having a few drinks prior to falling off the ship. Fucking duh. Okay. But
What
he,
the fuck? I have no idea how. Of course, he had a couple drinks before he was in a
that's
goddamn
what I'm
Eric.
saying. But at least not recall. He doesn't recall how many. Well, duh.
Yeah.
But Grimes was last seen at a restaurant where he told
Sick
his
name though.
yeah. He was last seen at a restaurant where he told his sister he was going to the bathroom. He does not remember excusing himself. I don't think he doesn't seem like the type that would excuse
No.
himself. He just
No, he seems like he would excuse himself going, I'm out of here, or something like that. Like
excuse me, sister. I'm going
he
to
would
go
play some
relieve
fucking
my
right.
trouser snake in the
And he
bathroom.
tips his hat and fucking he
Yeah.
takes his monocle off. No.
No.
This guy has an open Hawaiian shirt. He has like deck shorts with cargo pockets, flip flops, and he's got those like pointed sunglasses, and then he's playing air guitar everywhere he goes.
Now, he doesn't remember excusing himself or his plunge into the Gulf of Mexico.
It's plunge, called cold plunge for sure, dude.
Only regaining consciousness in the water with no boat in sight, he
How's
said.
that even possible? He just like he fell into the water. Did like the impact wake him up, or like?
No, that's what I'm saying is if the impact woke him up, he would see the boat, but there was no boat in sight. So like he had to have been knocked out, like still
He knocked out
unconscious.
and then rolled onto his back somehow and just like
yeah,
floated.
somehow. Yeah. 'Cause
Lucky
he got
fucker,
swarmed
dude.
by jellyfish twice.
Maybe
Remember that
the
part?
jellyfish saved his life by
Probably. They're like, here, we're trying to zap you to life.
right. Yeah. Clear.
Okay, side note, I have this theory that I don't say out loud, but I think jellyfish are aliens, okay?
Okay.
I really
You just
do.
said it out loud. You raised that right?
I know, I might cut
It's
it.
out there.
But no, I really feel like they're aliens, so they probably helped keep him alive. After hours in the water, Grimes eventually spotted a tanker ship. He said he used his last bit of energy from the jellyfish to swim to the
Right.
vessel, which later contacted the Coast Guard for help. The Coast Guard aviation survival technician for the New Orleans division told local news stations that Grimes had about 30 seconds to a minute left before he would have died in that water. That's crazy.
That
Like,
is tight.
because someone said it's absolutely a miracle that this guy was able to be rescued, even if another ship
No,
happens to pass by, which is incredibly hard to
right,
spot someone in the water, even if you're actively looking.
right. The fact that he was able to that he survived any of that, like he just falling in the water should have killed him. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And he should have just like fell off the water and then like we never heard about that. He's like just a passenger missing from the cruise ship, but somehow he was stung back to life by two schools of. Are they considered schools? Is that plural of jellyfish?
Yeah, I think it could be schools
All right, two schools of
or
jellyfish.
pods. School.
Pods.
Well, dolphins have pods. I
Are
don't
they
know.
pods? I don't know.
They could be called squads.
Squads. Okay. We got to figure this out, Dave. But yeah, he shouldn't have survived any of that, and the fact that he's able to tell the story. Because I thought you were telling me like someone else was telling the story, but like no, he told the story. Oh shit.
No,
Okay.
he wasn't the one who told the story, but yeah, someone told the story about that guy.
And then he was like, well, "Yeah, I mean, I've had it. I don't trust this guy anymore now." He's like, maybe I had a few drinks, but
I don't remember doing any of that.
yeah.
I don't even remember this competition.
I could totally him being like, totally see this guy be like cannonball and then just jumping in and knock himself out. I was like, I have
probably
no
was drunk, and showing off and trying to,
I have no idea. Watch me jump into the Gulf of Mexico,
and probably knocked himself out hitting the water, and he doesn't remember. Yeah,
I remember. This is a weird story, but I remember I had this babysitter that before I moved to Germany, and she was my favorite babysitter, and she had a younger brother named Steve, it's the same name as my dad's younger brother. And anyway, when I came back from Germany,
Uncle Steve.
Yeah, Uncle Steve, right? And then when we came back from Germany, she was actually a teacher at my elementary school now. I was like, oh shit, fucking. Her name was Sarah. Oh shit, Sarah. And it turns out though, her younger brother Steve, he had just recently died because he jumped into there was this place called Wet and Wild. It's a water park in El Paso. And he jumped into the like this wave pool, and they said he did a cannonball. He's like, watch me do this cannonball, and he knocked himself out with his knees, and like no one was like, is he gonna come back up or and then he didn't.
Damn.
Yeah. All right. So on a lighter note, Jesus, episode's dark, dude.
This episode is dark.
But
that's what it should be called. This episode's dark. Yeah.
All right, so I can go. We can go on to a today I fucked up, and this will bring it to a little. It's not dark at all. This is the today I fucked up. At my work, if a plastic piece breaks or a screw is stripped on a computer, we're fixing. We use super glue. I was working with some today, and the stuff is super clear and it's spread out super thin, enough where you can barely notice it. It's almost impossible. So unknowingly, I got a lot of it on my hands. Okay. Well, I went to the bathroom for some needed relief, and I was stuck. To paint a picture, my whole palm was stuck to my junk, balls and noodles.
No, balls and noodles.
That's what he said. So he zipped up his hand inside of his pants, zipped up his hand inside of his pants, and then went and told his boss.
Oh no!
And he said his boss, after about 5 minutes of straight laughing at him, let him go home. Well,
he just stood there and laughed.
Yeah, he just laughed at him for 5 minutes. I was like, oh god! All right, hold on.
Wait, let me take a picture.
All right, let me get a. All right. Go. And he's just like, go home. Like it is like go to the doctor. Anyway, that's not the end of it though. On my way home, since I have only one hand, I swerve a little bit every now and then. A cop decides to pull me over. He walks over and he says to me, "Sir, please take your hand off your crotch and show me your ID." I explain what happened. He breaks out laughing, but I still get a ticket. Only $20 though for being a good sport. I also get escorted home. So he follows him home. And now here I am sitting in my bathtub full of warm water and soap, typing on my phone.
Oh God.
So that sucks. So he's like, did
he ever get free or what?
No. So yeah, he said
how's his actually hold on. How are his balls and noodles?
Yeah. That's let me go a little bit further. Fine. It didn't go. There's no update as about the level of where his balls are at, But what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
There's like a doctor would say, like the condition. It didn't give me an update on the condition of his balls, but it did say that he did get them free, and he was typing, and then that's basically it.
Oh fuck! That's
the condition of his balls. So yeah, if you ever use, I also heard another one. quick side note where a lady, very similar, she was working on something and remodeling her house, wherever, and there was sawdust and all that stuff, and she had some super glue. Well, she also her eyes got dry from the all the sawdust, and so she went to put some eye drops in her eye. And can you figure out where this is going?
No, because I'm not paying attention.
she accidentally put super glue in her eyeball.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and glued her eyeball, like her eyelid, to her. And yeah.
What happened? Did she lose her eyes?
No, they were able to, like, they I don't know what, they had to take her to the doctor, and then they did some kind of thing to her, and like it ended up being fine, I think.
Oh
But still,
God.
yeah, like, she only did to one. Luckily, she figured out she wasn't both eyes, I don't think, but she just did to the one to. But still, super glue is
crazy.
a dangerous thing, especially the super clear one. Yeah,
Yeah, clear eyes. Today I learned that rats prefer the sound of silence to Beethoven and Miles Davis, except for when they're on drugs, then they prefer the jazz.
That's interesting, actually. So normally they're like, turn that goddamn
Beautiful music. No,
off.
beautiful music off. I want silence, but when they're on drugs, give me that smooth jazz.
Well, Miles Davis was released. I'm gonna say smooth jazz, and then Beethoven was like classical. When they say Beethoven,
I know they're not talking about that. They're just saying that they tried to play music for them and they didn't like it. But when they're on drugs, they like jazz. So yeah, that could
it was
be
just
Davis,
jazz.
It could be just jazz. It
okay,
just jizz.
Just jizz. Sick bastards. A rat would be into that.
You rat bastard.
All right, so do you want me to
Oh no, I'm not done. So what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a scientist. Oh wow, that's interesting. What type of research do you specialize in? I get rats high and play the music.
I thought you were gonna go with a just a jizz reference, but I'm glad he went with a music one instead. Okay.
Well, someone said if I met someone this interesting at a party, I would be ecstatic. I'm like, right? I would definitely talk to this person, ask them all kinds of questions.
Yeah. Yeah,
How hard would it be to pretend to be a test subject?
That is interesting though, because like, how many music genres did they have to go through before, like, oh, they're really vibing to this jazz? You know what I mean?
Yeah, are the rats like pushing a button? No.
Right, they're like, nah, that's fun. They're like, just skip next, to swiping right. Yeah. There's a bunch of rats just swiping right on artists. It's like, nah, I'm not feeling this one, dude. This is another today I fucked up. And I think we've all kind of been a little, kind of been here. But this one says, last night my friend told me that some vaginas are abnormal. Right? We've all been there. I never thought about this before, and naturally I sought to discover whether or not my vagina, in fact, looks the right way. My next step was to take a photo booth photo down under and compare it to pictures I found online. Unfortunately, I forgot to close my photo booth before putting my computer to sleep. And consequently, this morning, I opened the laptop and flashed a massive photo of my vag to all the students beside me in the lecture hall.
Oh my God.
I tried to close it discreetly and quickly, but the damage was done. And frankly, I was too embarrassed to ever ask if people saw it. Now,
hey, did you see my coochie?
Hey, by the way, did you happen to see my vagina earlier? hey, Fred, did you, quick question. Go ahead. I'm just going to ask you, and then you
Hey, Bob, wait up,
yeah.
Bob, I got to ask you something.
I'm going to ask you, then you ask all your friends for me, because I don't want to. But did you? That's not the worst part. So, okay, so same person.
Oh, God.
Not a huge fan of Instagram, but I use it every so often.
Oh, God.
And I have about 25 friends on there. Same chick who's taking vag pics. I also like to send my boyfriend some dirty pictures here and there for fun. Lately, I've been feeling a little artistic and decided to Instagram them, add some filters, give her that little, give that vag a little spice.
Give that little pussy a facelift.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that I had figured, well, I figured that since all my photos, I thought that I figured that, all the photos I have were set to private. I would just send them to my boyfriend and delete them immediately. I didn't realize that sending my photos to private just means that the general public can't see them, but all of my friends still can. I have no idea how many if
Oh
anyone's been seeing
my
naked pictures of me
God.
pop up and then get deleted a few minutes later.
Oh my
So she's
God.
just showing chip people her pussy in the lecture hall and then just
And
trying to
then
show
she
her.
posted it
All her
on
friends are like,
Instagram.
Jesus, I didn't see it at the lecture hall, but I've seen it now. It's like a Snapchat pussy. I don't get it, but I
I
don't know what
didn't
you're
want to see
doing.
it then, and
I
I
don't know what
don't
you're
want to
doing
see it
now.
now. And now
Yeah,
she has 23 friends.
I know. Oh man, you lost followers. That's sad. It's like
Or
a
they're like,
real
oh,
life.
she got hacked.
It's a real life naked attraction, dude. Like they're just like your genitals are not for my friends
Oh,
list.
that's online, by the way. I looked it up on
Yeah,
IMDb, and
yeah.
you can watch the episodes online.
Well, yeah, you can watch everything. What do you mean online? Like where online?
On the fucking station's website, there's a website you could
Oh,
watch.
it's just called Naked Attraction on
No,
or
the channel that broadcasts it has a
what
website.
channel? Did you see what channel it was?
No,
Yeah,
I
again,
saw that it was there, but I
right.
didn't really, you
You
know,
didn't dive into it further. You're just like, okay, cool.
yeah, I'm all set. Like, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I've told you. I basically told you what the show is, and it's like one of those shows. Like it is like it's real.
The
The
only thing,
novelty
the only thing I
wears
care
off
about
quick.
is the only thing I care about is
Yeah,
sorry, the novelty wears off.
yeah, it does. But yeah,
Sorry, I completely interrupted you.
hmm
Hmm.
go ahead. I'm listening. But yeah, you were saying.
Shut up. Stop laughing. No, but I seriously want to know if they're still dating, like how like this format of a because you said they
That's
do all
such a
these
girl
follow-ups.
answer, dude.
No, because I want to see if this fucking way of meeting people actually
No,
like
that's a
what's
good
the outcome? Like of
right.
course they're not dating still, you know.
No, but I mean, yeah, that is a good point because, like, yeah, they get the like. I know I'm sexually attracted to you right off the bat, out of the way. Like, there's like obviously,
I mean, that's every toxic relationship ever is
I know
obviously
that's
they're
the whole.
sexually, you know what I
I know,
mean?
yeah, I know exactly. So yeah, so I'm saying like the whole nexus of the initial attraction is like, yeah, I 100% sure I'm attracted to you sexually, and that's that. That's it. Like, there's nothing else to it. There is no because most dating games like there is like a little piece of aspect where you get to know their personality at least a little bit. It's just straight physical. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, this is I haven't seen an American version. It's all foreign
It's
versions.
a Czechoslovakian version.
Yeah, Czechoslovakian. Yeah, what was the other
Czechoslovakian.
defunct countries I can name?
You just said
Yugoslavia.
Czechoslovakian.
Did I?
Yes, that shit was funny as fuck.
Czechoslovakian.
I got 45. Who wants to buy this country? 75. 75.
Czechoslovakian. Yugoslavia. Anyone wants Yugoslavia?
I have a today I learned back in 1990 after miraculously surviving a plane crash. Two men received 6 years in jail when ER doctors found baggies of cocaine inside of their bodies.
Fuck.
So the commenter's like, no, honestly, I'm fine, doctor. No need for x-rays.
Yeah. Jeez. That sucks, though. That's like the worst. I think if you're smuggling drugs, that's like the worst possible
Oh, God, right?
outcome is like you get horribly injured and still get arrested.
Like, bro, be cool. There's an 8-ball in it for you.
Yeah, man. Damn. I know, right? It's a doctor. He's like, I already have an 8-ball or two. It's fine.
Someone was like, Your Honor, there's no proof these baggies of cocaine were inserted in the aforementioned crash. You can't provide or prove my clients had knowledge of the cocaine inside of themselves. Who's to say that someone didn't insert the cocaine when my clients were incapacitated in the aftermath of this horrible accident?
Did you pack your own body before this flight, sir?
Did you pack your own asshole? Well, somebody wrote out what the whole story was. The two male passengers were arrested in North Shore Hospital after a nurse informed police that 46-year-old Antonio Zuluaga, that's a funny name, had swollen containers filled with cocaine.
Had swollen?
Had swallowed.
Yeah, we go.
Sorry. Did I
we're
say
fucking
swollen?
up words. You said swollen. Yeah, we're fucking up words all day, dude. We're both terrible today.
Okay. So this guy had swallowed containers filled with cocaine. Zuluaga, who had a fractured spine, broken ribs, and a dislocated hip, was the second passenger to be found with possession of cocaine packages. after doctors operating on Jose Figueroa on the day after the crash to stop internal bleeding had discovered packets of cocaine. Zuluaga and Figueroa pleaded guilty to a second-degree criminal possession of a controlled substance. Figueroa was sentenced 7 years to life, and Zuluaga was sentenced to 6 years to life.
That's quite the fucking range, dude. 7 years to the rest of your life.
I know.
Well, they're like, you're smoking cocaine, so you're probably gonna live 10 max anyway.
For right.
For right. You said that confident too.
Yeah, man. For right. That was interesting.
Yeah. This podcast is not just funny. Sometimes it's informative.
It's informative, yes. Yeah. Very informative.
Yeah. Well, sometimes on Sunday. No, that's not it. Some days on Sunday. Sundays at some time. We'll figure it out.
No, it's Sundays at some point.
All right. Sundays at some point. There you go.
I'm keeping all of that in. Mm-hmm. Sunday, sometime on Sunday.
I was getting the S's. The S's were there.
And then you're like, we'll work it out. I'm like,
Sunday.
this is Sunday.
Sundays.